Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode I will discuss the astrology for the week of October 20th, 2024. But first, two announcements. Next Sunday, my transits class for Kepler College begins. It's a 5-week course intended for intermediate astrology students. You can check it out at the link in the show notes or the classes page on my website. Also, next Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time is the monthly new moon workshop, this time for Scorpio season. You'll learn all about how to make the best of this energy, as well as I'll do as many hot take natal readings as I can for the participants in the time allowed. So a look back at the astrology from last week. I'm taping this very early because I'm going to the OPA conference. So I'm taping this on Sunday, a couple of days early, so I don't know really much of the news. But on Saturday night, live, they did a skit where Kamala Harris and Donald Trump were competing in Family Feud. And it was so in line with the astrology. The sun in Libra, sun rules leaders. And for Libra, because the United States has Libra midheaven, the midheaven rules the president. And those two are competing to be president of the United States. And squaring Mars in Cancer. It's an applying square. It will perfect on Monday, but especially Mars transits come in early. And really, you'll start seeing signatures of all of the aspects a couple of days early. But anyway, Mars in Cancer. Cancer rules the family. Mars rules feud. So we got a comedy skit about the presidential candidates competing in this game show. Another thing we saw that really embodied that transit plus all of the bonkers transits, like it was just a really busy day on Sunday, the 13th. So we knew something was coming that would embody all of these transits. And the word of the day was charity. And what happened was President Biden announced that he was sending 100 troops as well as equipment over to Israel as Israel prepares to take action for the never-ending cycle of violence and with Iran. And so the president made an announcement about what the government was doing as a show of force to try to deter the violence getting out of control. Mercury in Libra. So an announcement, Mercury from Libra, the president of the United States, squaring, that's tension, Pluto, which rules power dynamics, and Capricorn rules governments. These two governments are in a conflict, Israel and Iran. The sun was also trine Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter protects. Remember, it's the biggest planet, thought to protect the Earth from space junk. And square Mars. Mars rules war. And Cancer protects as well. So it's like a protection measure. I talked about the full moon last week. I'll have to talk about whatever happened next week at the full moon that's noteworthy from the astrology. The theme of this week is sweet smell of success. And there are 3 big things I want you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that Scorpio season begins on Tuesday, where the sun will transit this sign, spotlighting themes of a scorpionic nature from October 22nd through November 23rd. Scorpio is an intense, fixed water sign that really can hold the energy. It's investigative. It's probing. People with strong Scorpio make great detectives. The TV series True Detective, especially the first season, was so good with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. It's such a scorpionic show. Think about like scary movies. It's a water sign, so it's emotions, and you know how your spidey senses start tingling. What's hiding around the corner? It can be about what's in your mind rather than what's actually there. It can be obsessive or compulsive. Scorpio deep dives into the taboo. There's nothing that is too dark to be examined. And it can be very healing. We examine the dark recesses of the shadows of our mind in order to recognize how it impacts our patterns of action for deep healing. The Day of the Dead happens during Scorpio season. The veil between this earth and the dearly departed is very thin. It's a great time to connect with your ancestors. You can ask your loved ones to visit you in a dream that have passed on. Scorpio also rules power dynamics and power struggles. And the election is going to be happening in Scorpio season for the U.S. Submarines are a very scorpionic topic. Yellow submarine has been something when I did the Aries ingress for Kepler. A yellow submarine was one of the themes I thought we would be seeing this year. So I haven't seen it in the news yet. If you have, certainly let me know. But maybe something about a submarine can make the news during this Scorpio season. Scorpio archetypes are the phoenix who can rise from the ashes. After everything is gone, rise up and soar again. The eagle, who is very strategic, who can fly above and be very targeted about what they go after. The scorpion, if it feels threatened or irritated, pa-boom, strikes and inserts its poison. You can think about that. Scorpio rules life, death, and rebirth. Sometimes when women get pregnant, their progressed moon goes into Scorpio. And because your whole body, like you're growing this life inside you, and it's very transformative, like you'll watch your body transform in front of your eyes. Transformation is a Scorpio word. So these are some of the things you can think about. The shaman who will lead people on difficult emotional journeys. The mystic who has information that's from another realm. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and co-ruled by Pluto, so it is piercing and maybe makes people uncomfortable. Dr. Laura was a radio talk show host out of LA who was wildly successful back in the 90s, but controversial. And she was a Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Capricorn, so she would just be very straight, give it to you, very pragmatic, very traditional, and her moon and Jupiter were in Scorpio. So the advice she was giving people was for the purpose of them helping them to see their shadow sides for healing. And she has Venus in Sagittarius, so ability to attract people to herself with her storytelling skills. But she was controversial because she was very conservative. That's Capricorn, holding up the traditions. Her big thing was you shouldn't have sex before marriage. And she was accused of being hypocritical because she certainly did. Anyway, she is that moon Jupiter. Her intention was to try to help protect people, but people felt like sometimes they just went down tough love lane. You know, they started down tough love lane and ended up on ambush alley because she was she's living as far as I know, no nonsense. And she wrote these books about the proper care and feeding of your husband, your wife, your marriage, blah, 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 blah. Your cosmic advantage begins with the Wise Skies digital calendar. With descriptions for every planetary and lunar event, all levels of astrology enthusiasts can enjoy the calendar on any device and now in many languages. With this superpower in your back pocket, you will be fully equipped to understand the astrological weather any day of the week. My good friend and collaborator, Tiffany Herlick, creates this calendar every year and I use it daily. I highly recommend it. Use my coupon code for $10 off. The code is ABC2024 or ABC2025, depending on the year. Let the universe have your back with the Wise Skies digital astrology calendar. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that we're going to have a last quarter moon at 1 Leo on Thursday. The last quarter moon is the crisis of consciousness of the moon cycle, where we psychologically integrate what has come since the new moon 3 weeks ago. And the new moon of this cycle was a solar eclipse and a very intense solar eclipse in Libra. And there are some things about this last quarter moon that are of interest. Mars, the planet of action, drive, and assertion, is conjunct the fixed star Procyon. And Procyon is like a firework. You get this burst of positive energy, but then it can fizzle. So it's about early gains should be capitalized on quickly, is what Bernadette Brady recommends in her book, Star and Planet Combinations. It's about a time of transition where you should harvest opportunities quickly. And Jupiter is conjunct the fixed star Bellatrix, which can be about success after a long struggle with influential friends. Now, if you've been thinking about doing something for a while, you may have like a window where you have this positive energy where you can have success. So you can think about that. The Leo moon is trine Venus in Sagittarius. That can be very positive energy where you feel like, I've got the Leo courage to, Sagittarius, take a risk, aim my arrow and go for it. And Mars in Cancer is sextile Uranus in Taurus. Sextiles, when they are in the yin signs, water signs, and earth signs, it can be about making your own magic. And I wrote down having the courage to leave a violent situation, like a domestic violence situation. You know, we had an eclipse in Libra. It's like getting out of it, getting to safety, ready to rebirth your life with this Scorpio energy. The sun at 1 Scorpio is the tarot card is the 5 of Cups. And this is a grief card where there can be feelings of grief and regret about I'm in this relationship with this person. And the Sabian symbol is a broken bottle and spilled perfume. And you can think about that. Like it felt like this wonderful thing, this precious gift at the beginning, but now it's shattered from all of the, whether it's screaming, yelling, just whatever it is, emotional, physical, or psychological torture that you've been through. You just have had enough. Something once beautiful was shattered. The genie's out of the bottle. And a broken perfume bottle, like the perfume can smell good or just smell, just so disgusting. The moon in Leo, 5 of Wands, that's a card about conflict and fighting, whether it's internal or external. And it's just like you've had enough. You're thinking about, I don't want, especially if you have children, I don't want them to see this and think this is okay. And the Sabian symbol is an epidemic of mumps, a situation or illness that impacts lots of people. Like a storm is something that impacts lots of people. Violence in the home, whether it's just nasty words or physical, it impacts everyone in the home, even the pets. So this is the imagery I'm getting, is that someone makes a break for it out of a bad situation that they've been planning for it, but they've got this window of opportunity with Mars sextile Uranus. That can be, I'm taking action and I'm going to be free and liberated from this bad situation. I've been hoping that maybe there'll be something going on in Iran where the women are freed from the tyranny of the religious leadership, the theocracy, and the solar eclipse was opposite Iran's sun, which can be like the leaders are smacked down. But it's probably a pipe dream, but it's something I've been ever since that the Masha Amini, where the woman who was murdered in jail by the morality police because her headscarf wasn't on properly. This was a Mercury in Libra retrograde story from that time in 2022. And now the eclipse is very near where Mercury was at that time. So I've been thinking it would be really beautiful if, it was just seeing the people like fighting for their rights. It was just so inspiring, and risking, persecution was so inspiring back then. But unfortunately, the theocracy kept hold. Regarding the moon phase family, which are these 27-month cycles where every 9 months there'll be an activation by the moon in your chart at the same place approximately in your chart every 9 months. And there can be a story that has pivot points. So think back to the new moon where the sun and the moon were both at 5 degrees of Leo on July 28th, 2022. Was something seated in your life? Give 2 weeks on either side. That's a story of the nature of Leo or the house where you have 5 Leo in. 9 months later, there was a first quarter moon, sun in Taurus, moon in Leo, both at 7 degrees on April 27th, 2023. The full moon of this cycle where all is illuminated. Maybe there was a big event around then with the sun in Aquarius, the moon in Leo, both at 5 degrees of the signs at January 25th, 2024. And this week we have the sun in Scorpio, the moon in Leo, both at 1 degree of the respective signs on October 24th, 2024. So is there an activation? What's wrapping up around this cycle? If your chart was activated, and I would say activated if you have planets or points between especially 0 and 10 Leo. Leo is a fixed fire sign. Its I statement is I will. It is idealistic, proud. It's Braveheart energy. It's courageous, romantic, generous. Now, shadow energies can be all about being attention-seeking, vain, childish. The golden child is a Leo archetype. Really scared about ridicule, nonstop boasting, exhibitionist. You can think about that. Autocratic is a Leo word. So you can think about the positives and negatives of this sign. But I love a Leo moon. You will see the people acting more engaging, dramatic, like wearing red, all of these kinds of things. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that the moon is out of bounds. The Leo moon is out of bounds. And an out of bounds moon means it's gone past the declination of the sun to the north or the south. And the sun is a calming influence. The sun is the king. And when any planet goes past the declination of the sun, it takes on a Uranian energy and it can be a little wild. But notice, especially have children, notice if they're running like little kids running around a little more wild than normal. It's because the moon is out of bounds. And we will see the moon go out of bounds when it's near Capricorn or Cancer. And it's a measure of like the zodiac degrees are latitude, and you can think of declination as longitude. And it's like you can have these hidden aspects in your chart when you have planets that are at the same declination. Just take from it that when a planet is out of bounds, it takes on a Uranian flare where it's away from the calming influence of the sun. Some people have this in their natal chart, and they can be like really unique in the relationship to that planet, or they can just be, kind of just like uncontrollable in some way. And the moon rules our emotions, and in mundane astrology, it rules the people. So just really notice what you're seeing about people's dramatic reactions.
If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 60 or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com.
On Sunday, the word of the day is share. We have a disseminating moon at 12 degrees of Gemini at 10:21 a.m. Pacific time. Gemini is mutable air. Air communicates and connects. Great to share what you learned over the eclipse season or about anything, frankly. The sun will be in Libra, quincunx Neptune in Pisces, both at 27 degrees. And Neptune is charitable. It rules charity and giving selflessly can be Neptunian. Quincunxes move us into new situations where we have to let go of something. We release and let go of something. The sun spotlights things. So together, these two transits, I thought about, you see your kid sharing their food with the dog. And you go to get him to stop, but it's so adorable that you don't. But you really realize you have to talk to your child about what's safe to give the dog and what's not safe, because you know you won't always be there to see it happening. So you'll talk to him about chocolate. The dog can't have chocolate and blah, 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 blah. Just so you make sure he understands the consequences of that. Or you could see one sibling thinking about, like, their wheels are turning. One of their siblings asks, can I have a piece of gum from your gum pack? And the other sibling, like, thinking, do I really want to give it to them? Because they're in their mind, they're thinking, if I give the piece of gum to them, that means I have one less piece of gum. But they're thinking about, but they do it anyway. And you can be like so proud that your kid shared with the other one. Gemini rules children, so that's why I use the example of a child. On Monday, the word of the day is concentration. The moon conjunct Jupiter at 21 degrees of Gemini happens on this day. The moon Jupiter can be like people are feeling good. You might notice people in an extra good mood or extra chatty. Gemini communicates. Then the moon goes into Cancer at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time. The water signs are mute. You may notice like all the talk starts to stop and people get quiet, or you emotionally turn inward. And then we have Mercury in Scorpio trine Saturn in Pisces. So this can be great. Mercury rules our communication as well as our mental processes. And Scorpio is probing, it's strategic, and Saturn can hold the energy. Trines are smooth, easy flowing energy. So this can be great for concentration. And maybe you had a great team meeting earlier while the moon was in Gemini, and now you can go back to your office and think about what you talked about and then plan out a strategy. And it's great energy to just get it done. Now, there can also be difficult news with Saturn, or someone can say with Mercury and Scorpio, something really probing that, kind of like as a scorpion stings you and feel like poison's running through you, like your feelings get hurt, could be something as well that happens. Or someone has to talk to someone about their overindulgence and with drugs or alcohol. Pisces, Saturn's in Pisces. Yeah, and they're both at 13 degrees of the signs. On Tuesday, the word of the day is shadow work. The sun at 29 degrees of Libra will square Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And Pluto unearths things. It rules the shadows and power dynamics. And for some reason, it's uncomfortable because a 10 square, and it's 29 is the degree of crisis and decay. There could be a crisis in a relationship that leads to some self-evaluation. Or like the boss, the head of the company, can let you know about things about that you didn't know about, like Pluto, the power structure, and Capricorn, a company, that the revenues for the company aren't what they thought what they were, and they have to issue a strategic change where there's going to be like some kind of reorganization or something like that. And so it's like something you weren't aware of. The sun focuses us and illuminates things. Now you're figuring it out. And maybe you had your own office and you're scaling down and you got to share your office Libra with someone else. That could be something. The sun will then enter Scorpio at 3:14 p.m. Pacific time. Now, Scorpio can get the fears going as well. This could be like, oh my God, am I going to get laid off? That someone is thinking about. But notice on this day how our attention is focused in on scorpionic topics. Like, see what you see in the news. It could be about the ocean, but I like really deep, deep, deep. I think of Scorpio as a really deep, deep, deep stuff. Also the underworld, strategy, banking, power struggles, account of the people who have passed on. That's very scorpionic. Taboo stuff. And maybe you decide, I want to get a new tarot deck or something like that. Now, Venus in Sagittarius is trying the North Node in Aries, both at 6 degrees. There will be story. Now, Venus partners in Sagittarius for adventure, and the North Node in Aries. Competition you can think about. Maybe one of your friends calls you and says, hey, let's go play pickleball, or let's go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. That's exciting opportunity, but scares you because, it's dangerous. You can think about that. That could be the sun in Scorpio, Venus in Sag, the sun square Pluto. You're focusing on your fears of Capricorn, a mountain. On Wednesday, the word of the day is submerge. We have the Moon-Mars conjunction at 25 Cancer at 2:19 p.m. Pacific time. Moon-Mars, that can be like a little stomach upset. Cancer rules the stomach. Or you can get like something in your pit of your stomach where you get really excited about, maybe you want to take a bath, a self-care to get ready for some sexy time. Scorpio is very sexual. The Leo moon starts at 10:23 p.m. Pacific time, and Leo's romantic. as well as the grand gestures. So maybe you're planning all sorts of stuff for Thursday night. Who has to wait for Friday night to really get it all right? Thursday, the word of the day is party. We have a last quarter moon at Leo at 1:02 a.m. and Mars in Cancer is sextile Uranus and Taurus. So this can be about at home, making a great meal, and then surprising your partner with coming out in something sexy or lingerie or something like that. It can be very passionate, a very fun, a date night. Now, you may not be able to wait till Thursday. Mars transits come in early, and you may notice as soon as the sun goes into Scorpio, you start thinking about sex. Yeah, that could be something that happens. But you could whip it on, and have a party for two, party for one, whatever kind of party you want to have. On Friday, the word of the day is SMIRK. So say somebody's partner whipped it on them and they're feeling great and they have a secretive smile on their face and they're feeling the sweet smell of success for how much fun they had or something like that. The moon in Leo sextile Jupiter. Now, it could also be the person who escapes from a domestic violence situation can be smiling because, what a relief. They're so proud of themselves. They feel like the world is their oyster. The moon in Leo will sextile Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter, you can think about, you can do long distance travel. You can go anywhere. You have optimism. You feel like there's abundance. On Saturday, the word of the day is chores. So you whipped it on your partner and they're being very helpful to you on Saturday because they are so happy about, the sudden passion during the week. The moon enters Virgo at 8:47 a.m. Pacific time. Virgo is of service. It's that chop wood, carry water energy of the zodiac where you think about your mind may turn to decluttering, straightening up, doing chores. Your partner may do the dishes, and was this something maybe you normally do, or out fixing your car or mowing the lawn or doing whatever you ask. So that is how this could show up. Or maybe you just are whistling while you're doing chores around the house, or doing something of charity, doing something of service, maybe deciding you want to donate to the people who have been involved in all of these hurricanes or some other crisis around the world or nearby you in your town, like volunteering. Maybe decide to sign up for the food pantry for Thanksgiving. Yeah, something like that. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories, or let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you or how the words of the day show up for you. Take care, and I'll catch you next week.
Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.